Welcome to Roll Right In, the podcast about entrepreneurship. We believe that the big problems in this world can only be solved by entrepreneur like Jennifer. Welcome to the Roll Right In podcast.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, Jennifer.
Can you please give us look back and give us a background about you personally and how you came so young to become a successful entrepreneur?
Sure, yeah, happy to do that. So I'm originally from Munich, and I also did my bachelor there in Munich, and then actually went here to Switzerland, to St. Gallen for my master. I did accounting and finance in my master, and I was right from the very beginning super passionate about finance topics and about also finance and accounting topics in particular. But yeah, I've been basically trying different things, working in different finance areas, tax advisory, auditing, transaction advisory, all those things you do in finance. And I love the finance topic itself per se, but I also saw that within those companies I couldn't really do what I was passionate about in a way that I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to see things going forward. And that's kind of what brought me to the entrepreneurial side, I guess just by purely wanting to have that impact. And I actually attended this conference with the purpose to get into the entire startup network, to get inspired, to meet others. And this was 4 years ago. And I actually met my co-founder here during lunch at the conference. And we already started brainstorming about the idea of Finway.
Oh, really?
At
already
this
here?
Conference. Yes.
Ah, cool.
Yes, like the day after, I think. And we basically decided, okay, it's a very good fit. He already had the initial idea of Finway. He was already working on that and basically looking for a team at the moment. And we were both back in Munich, so we started to think about that. He told me what kind of interviews he already had, what kind of pain points he already discovered. And that's how the entire journey has started.
And today you have 60 employees and you've already raised 12 million of investment, right?
Yes.
What happened from that initial moment until today, and what were some of your lessons learned?
Well, I guess just hard work and the passion in the end. So, as I said, I'm super passionate about finance, and what we are solving, maybe just like a quick intro on this, we are a software provider which helps small and medium-sized businesses to digitalize their pre-accounting processes. And as I said, I love accounting, but I also see that...
It's a bit nerdy, you know that, right?
I know, yes. But I also see that in finance departments or in organization, finance department does not yet get the recognition they should deserve. And it's also because they not really have yet the systems to work with and to also give easy systems to their employees to work with finance-related topics, because in the end, finance is somehow something which is relevant for the entire company. And yeah, that's basically what we do. So we provide them with a software to cover all those financial operation processes. And in the end, that passion always drove us forward. And talking to potential customers in the beginning, and by now customers, who we were able to help in those topics, and who also told us about their pains, that's in the end what's driving your motivation to do. And you're then just hustling basically through, and trying to get a product market fit, trying to build up the product, trying to get customers, trying to get people on board, and here we are now 4 years later.
Amazing.
I'd like to circle back real quick to being passionate about accounting.
Yes.
So I have never heard that before, honestly, especially not as a entrepreneurial spirit. So when did you realize that you are passionate about accounting?
So for me, I'm a numbers guy, numbers person, numbers woman, whatever. I basically loved math from the very beginning. I think I was also a person I could count before I was able to speak and write things down. My father's also the mathematician, so I think that's somehow related there. And when I started studying business administration, I had the first course on accounting, and to be honest, nobody liked that course except of me. But it's in the end such a logical thing, and that's I think what really also drives my passion there. First of all, the logic behind that, but then also what kind of impact it can have for a company to get those things right, and what kind of insights it can provide. Because we're not just doing that because they have to do that and because it's regulations, it's also because they need those those information to do their business, to basically make decisions in their business and what to do next, what to do in the next month, what to do in the next years. So it's such an essential part, but why is it not seen that way?
So exactly, because nobody likes to do that, but regularly you have to do it. It's a great business.
Amazing. It's amazing.
So,
it sounds really good that you saw for that. But tell me, you've raised 12 million of investment. If you reflect on this, what did you make right? What do you think are some of the success strategies that others could learn from?
Yeah, so we raised already our first money from the very beginning. When we incorporated the company, we already got very successful angels on board, and they also helped us a lot, obviously, in then also future fundraising rounds. So I think, building up a network in this area is quite essential, so that you also then have the possibility to reach out to those people. I think investors are investing in good companies, in good products, and good teams, so that's the essential part, to have that. But then also to be able to communicate it in the end, because if you're not able to communicate what you've done, and if you have a great product, and if you have a great team, then nobody will invest in you. So really also preparing all your financing rounds in a lot of detail is, I think, the key, and also what we've seen over time works better. So, for example, our first round was not as prepared as our last round, obviously. So you also learn over time, and you then also able to raise bigger rounds. I think also a certain professionalism is super important. Investors, they give you money, and they need to build up a trust to give you that money, and that you are doing the right things then with this. So you also need to show that you are building up your business in a professional manner. You do that by being also professional towards the investors, because that's what they see from you. And then also being able to show traction, to show user love. Those are like all things investors are looking at.
Seemed like you did a lot of things right.
when you look back, when you started, what you were perceiving and what you thought of how that will work out, what is your recommendation to these new young founders?
Just do it and try it out. It's like the best experience you can have. It's the greatest learning curve you can have. And I think there are no real risk behind that, because even though in the very beginning, if things are not working out, you have learned a lot, you've built up a network, so there are fallback options. I think it's definitely worth taking that risk, and I was not really knowing what I was getting myself into, to be honest. Not really having worked in a company prior, as a full-time job, not really even knowing how companies usually run. It's obviously a challenge.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned it yesterday at the press event already. I think it's a good thing that you start. You don't know how it actually works, and thereby you can really innovate also how a company works, right?
Yes, you have nothing to compare. You basically need to make your thoughts on everything in the first time, and you can really also bring in your personal passion in there, because you're not deciding anything because you've seen it already that way, just because you say that's the way how I want to do it.
From scratch, without any legacy. That's really cool. I think it must be hard as a first-time founder in that age to lead a team of 60 people. What are some lessons here?
It is sometimes, but it's also a learning curve the same way. So you're not starting with 60 people right in the very beginning. So you're starting with 10, with 20, and it's growing over time. But yes, it is definitely a challenge. And I think you need to also take your time to develop on such things, to also learn how you do that, what's the important topics there, to also see certain personalities, to know what are people looking for, what they need. And in the end, that's also, again, a lot through your network, so you can network with other founders, how they do it. Maybe they've already done it successfully previously, maybe they're also doing it for the first time.
So you exchange with other founders as well about this?
Yes, a lot.
So best practices and how they...
Yeah, with your founders, with your investors, with my own co-founders obviously as well. So it's a lot about exchanging, but then also taking your time to learning certain things there. So I also, by now, want to take more of my time to also learn more about leadership and such things, so that you also, getting to that role in the end.
what you learn on the job. I mean, that's
True.
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility. What keeps you up at night?
Wow. Probably a lot of things, but it's always different. So it's, as a founder, you have 1,000 things on your mind, and you're like in January working on this project, and in February you're working on this project again. So it's always a bit dependent. So right now it's definitely a lot about the current market and how 2023 will look like, and what are like also things we need to adopt now, what are like maybe also things we need to change now. So it's, right now it's a lot about efficiency, and we are currently building up our entire sales engine. So the good thing is here we're not yet, or we have not yet been at a growth stage where everything was set up, and we now need to change major things. We are basically just at the beginning, and we can already set it up the right way. So that's good, but it's still a lot about such things, and always how you envision your company in the future. What are like things you want to concentrate on?
And how-
daily projects.
And how do you envision your company in the future? Is it a European business? Is it a global business? What do you see as a size?
Yeah, so definitely, as I said, the vision is to help finance departments in particular, that they basically are able to solve their operational finance projects or processes through our software, and also allow for a certain collaboration among the entire organization. And we do this currently mostly in Germany. We have a huge market in Germany already, because it's quite great mid-sized market here. But we also envision this to be in the future in Europe, because there are also other companies out there in other countries having the same issues. So we definitely also want to go international there.
In the US?
And we'll see if it goes beyond Europe or not.
You have to talk then.
A startup that had such a potential like yours. I mean, I also tested around a little bit on your website, the product. I think that's a huge potential. And yeah, you know, I just say they have to go as fast as possible into the biggest market. And at the moment, that's the USA. What do you think?
It's always about also what is your target group, what are the companies you're targeting, how are they currently working, what's also the persona there in the end. For us, it's also a lot about what kind of systems are they already using, what kind of accounting systems, what kind of accounting regulations sometimes even, and what kind of spending types they're having, how they are spending money. So for example, in the US, a credit card is way more important also for B2B than here in Germany or in Europe. And in Germany, we still have lots of bank transfers and direct debits being made, and we are also covering those things. So it's also a lot about your target group.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
great. Thank you.